Hey there, and welcome to the Girl Means Business podcast, the show that's all about helping photographers just like you build a thriving business without sacrificing your sanity. I'm your host, Kendra Swalls, a former teacher turned full-time photographer and marketing coach, here to fill your earbuds each week with practical tips, real-life stories, and a whole lot of encouragement. So if you're ready to dive in, let's get to it because this girl means business. Hey friend, welcome back to the Girl Means Business podcast. I am so thrilled you're here this week. A couple of quick little life updates, and then we're going to get into today's topic. If you notice, and maybe you won't, hopefully you will not, but if you notice that the audio is a little wonky on the next few episodes, just bear in mind that I'm recording from my living room for the time being because on a whim last weekend, my husband and I decided to do some home remodeling, including my office/guest room and then our kids' old playroom. We ripped up the carpet. We're having new flooring put in. I'm going to repaint both rooms and then kind of redesign my office space a little bit. But what I'm most excited about, and guys, if you love to read, you're going to so get excited about this with me, hopefully. My girls and I all love to read. My oldest daughter especially really loves books. She loves, I bought her a Kindle, but she loves physical books, which I'm with you. I love a Kindle. I use my Kindle a lot, but I do love a good physical book. And she had been sending me for a long time, these videos that she would find where it was someone, turned a space in their home into a little home library. We had talked about doing our entryway, little sitting area, making it a home library, or she wanted to build bookcases in her room, but it's not big enough. So we have this other room that was our playroom. And the girls are really too old for a playroom. We kind of turned it into a hangout room with a TV and things like that, but they just don't ever do that. They have their own things in their rooms. They don't really need a playroom. So we have decided to turn the old playroom into our home library/reading room. And I am so stinking excited about this. I'm going to be sharing probably videos and behind the scenes clips over on my Instagram if you want to go follow along on the journey here. My vision is that we're putting down hardwood floors. And then I've seen all these videos of people using the Billy bookcases from IKEA, and you paint them and you trim them out. I want to do wallpaper on the backboard, on the back panel, and give it a pop of color. My daughter would love to add a rolling ladder. I don't know that will be possible, but we'll see what we can make happen. We're going to do cute decorative pieces, a big cozy reading chair, curtains, lighting, the whole works. So I am so pumped about this because even though I've had this idea for a long time, it was one of those things where it was always someday we'll do that. Someday we'll do that. But when we decided last minute to rip up the carpet because it's old builder grade carpet we've had since we built this house 13 years ago, it's been there's in the old playroom room, there was slime caked into the carpet in one spot. There's spill stains, there's pet stains. It needed to go. And all of our rooms need to be replaced, but we're starting with these two. And so when my husband was I'm done, we're ripping it up and tossing it out the window, I was let's do it. And so that's why for the time being, I am misplaced out of my office, but it's for really good reasons. And I'm really excited to share the updates as we go through figuring out what we're going to do with the office space and then building out the home library in the old playroom. So fun, exciting things coming, but hopefully the audio quality will not suffer in the meantime. Okay, today's episode is one that I think a lot of us are going to relate to. And it's this idea behind never having enough time to do the things in our business or just in life, but in the case of this episode, in our business, that we know we need to be doing or we want to be spending time on. We just feel we don't have the time to do. And so I want to share with you today some things that you can do in your business in 10 minutes or less a day that can make an impact when it comes to building momentum, getting that confidence, kind of keeping that wheel turning, keeping that momentum going, that's going to help bring in more clients and help you feel that you are on top of all the things that you want to be doing in your business. I think one of the biggest blocks that a lot of us have around this is we feel that in order to do marketing or in order to do things really well, we need to give it a ton of time and attention.
And the reality is like, it's just not always possible. And sometimes you just have to go with what you have available to you and the time you have available to you. So, what I'm going to challenge you to do is listen through this episode, make note of some of the things we talk about, and then set a daily timer. Set like an alarm or a notification on your phone or on your computer that each day at a certain time, I want you to take 10 minutes, and you can decide what time of day this is best for you. Take 10 minutes and have one thing per day that you do. So for me, this is a perfect example of how I use my like school pickup time. So my school pickup time, I don't sit in a huge long line as like I used to anymore because my kids are at smaller schools and they, it's the whole thing. But I do still have probably about 10 minutes, 10 to 15 minutes that I'm sitting in line because I get there before the line actually starts moving. And I can use that 10 minutes to do something in my business from my phone, or I can bring my laptop and connect to a hotspot in my car and work from my computer if I need to. I don't really do it from my computer a whole lot, but I can do a lot of this from my phone. And it's a great way to make use of my time, but then also to feel like I'm actually doing something productive. And then I can get back from school pickup or get back into my work day or just have family time when I get home and not feel like I end the day going, oh, I didn't do anything for my marketing today. At least I feel like I've accomplished something. Okay, so let's go through what are some things that you can do in a 10-minute window. So let's say your 10 minutes is sitting in car pickup or school pickup, or you have 10 minutes as part of your full-time job lunch break that you're going to take, or you have 10 minutes first thing in the morning before your day gets crazy, or you have 10 minutes that you set aside every afternoon right before you go pick up your kids from school or your kids get home from the bus or whatever, that you're going to set this aside. But pick a time that works for you and set aside that 10 to 15 minutes, set that notification, that reminder, and then have like a running list of things that you can do, starting with this one. This is one I think could be really helpful if you are wanting to utilize social media to kind of gain relationships and build connections online. It is to engage with your ideal clients. So this could look like going in and engaging with comments in a mom's group. It could be going in and engaging with brides that have posted or commented on a local bridal shop's recent post. It could mean that if you are a family photographer and you know that there is a popular mom influencer in your community, that you go and you engage with people who follow her account. And engage can just mean you are commenting on their post, you're liking their stories, you're engaging with their content in some meaningful fashion. And it's not this quick thing of like, I'm going to go engage with 10 people and I'm going to get 3 of them to come book a session with me. That's not the purpose of this. Reset your perspective here. If you go engage with 10 people today, and then next week you go engage with 10 people again, or the same 10 people, and then the next week you go engage with 10 people, and some of that overlaps, eventually you're going to become someone that people recognize as like a top person in their feed, because they're going to get notified that Kendra Swalls engaged with me today. Oh, Kendra Swalls engaged with me again yesterday. Oh, Kendra Swalls engaged with me again like another week later. That name is going to pop up, or your business name, Paisley Lane Photography. Oh, interesting. If this photography account engaged with me 5 times in the last week, like that's cool. Let me go see what their stuff's about. Maybe she follows my page now. Like it's a slow burn, but it's building connections. It's showing that it's not a one-sided relationship. You are not expecting them to just show up, engage with your content, and then book with you. You have to go put in the legwork as well. So taking that 10 minutes to engage with your ideal clients wherever they are. It could be, like I said, in a Facebook group. It could be on Instagram, on TikTok. Maybe it's someone who like does a lot of stuff on Pinterest or their YouTube channel or their podcast. Like wherever your ideal clients are spending time and hanging out, go and engage with them for just a few minutes, either every day or a couple times a week. If this is something that you really feel like is going to benefit you, I would recommend doing it at least twice a week. So if you take these ideas and you break them up so that you're not engaging for 10 minutes every single day. Maybe it's just like every Tuesday and Thursday, you're doing social engagement. And then that's twice a week and you're done. You can feel like you've accomplished something. You've done 20 minutes of social engaging from your car while you're sitting at the school pickup, or from your couch while you're watching a show in the evening. You're doing something that's beneficial to your business. And again, you never know when that little bit of engagement is going to turn into a bigger conversation and into a client booking. So don't disregard that engagement as like, this is not doing anything for me, this is pointless. It is a slow burn, but I promise you, if you are engaging, then people will start to engage back with you as well.
Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Let me ask you something. How many hours have you spent in your business stressing over social media, fighting with an algorithm, trying to keep up with the latest trends, and just posting for the sake of posting, only to feel like you're spinning your wheels and nobody's even paying attention? I've been there, and let me tell you, it is the worst. But I have a fun little secret for you. Did you know that you don't actually need social media to keep your calendar full? Now, I know that goes against everything all of the other quote unquote experts are telling you to do in your business, but I am living proof that you do not need social media to grow your photography business. I have been successfully staying booked solid in my photography business for the last 8 years with very minimal social media use. And I am excited to show you exactly what I've been doing inside of a private podcast series. The 7-day booking blueprint is 8 power-packed episodes that you can binge all at once or listen to at your own pace. Each episode is actionable and designed to help you book more clients without relying on social media. If you're hearing this ad right now, that means that you are a fan of the Girl Means Business podcast. Thank you, by the way. But if you've ever found yourself saying, man, I wish I could just dive even deeper. I wish I could have a one-on-one sit down with Kendra and really pick her brain about all the things that she's doing in her business, then this podcast series is going to give you everything you've been hoping for. It is so packed with so much information that you are going to walk away feeling like you have the exact roadmap you need to grow your photography business. So if you're ready to hop off that social media hamster wheel and actually start seeing results in your business and start filling up your calendar, head down to the show notes and grab the link so that you can start listening right away.
Okay, the next thing you can do is, if you are wanting to focus on collaborations and partnerships and borrowing other people's audiences and things like that, then use that engagement time to focus less on your ideal clients and more on the brands and businesses that they are following or engaging with online. So an example of this could be, let's say that you are a wedding photographer and you know that there are some pretty nice wedding venues, vendors, as far as bridal shops, florists, hair and makeup ladies, things like that. And you go and you start engaging with them. You start to build relationships with those people, both visibly and behind the scenes. So what I mean by that is, you could take the concept of, I'm going to engage with, let's say there's a wedding venue that you really love and you love to shoot at. You want to book more weddings and more brides who are going to use this venue. Then you need to go engage and show up on their comments. You need to share their post. You need to comment on their on their feed and their stories. Mostly their feed post, because that's going to be visible to brides. And so if my business name is Paisley Lane Photography and I'm going on to this one wedding venue's post, and every time they post something, I'm commenting something of value, not just heart emojis, but I'm saying things like, oh my gosh, the light in this bridal suite is absolutely stunning. It's going to be so great for bridal photos or for getting ready photos with you and your bridesmaids. That's a meaningful engagement post. If they post a picture of a recent bride at their venue, and if they did an outdoor ceremony and you're like, oh my gosh, this is so amazing. I love doing outdoor ceremonies at this venue, especially this time of year or whatever, like, make it a meaningful comment. But if it's one that's actually going to get noticed, it's not just emojis, it's not just love this, it's actually meaningful. Your comment is either going to come to the top of the comment section. So when a potential bride looks at that post, they may see your name as like one of the first comments that pops up. And if they start to see Paisley Lane Photography, Paisley Lane Photography, Paisley Lane Photography on all the comments, they're going to start to go, oh, it sounds like this photographer has a pretty good relationship with this venue. Maybe I need to look into her. Maybe this photographer has worked at this venue. That's always a plus. Let me go look into this. So if you are splitting your engagement time in those 10-minute blocks between your ideal clients and then the businesses and the places where they're engaging with, you're going to now show up in multiple places. And not only will you show up to them as being an engaged member of that social space, you also can start to build relationships with that business. So if that wedding venue notices that, hey, Paisley Lane Photography is always commenting on our content, they're always sharing our content, they have tagged us in 1 or 2 weddings they've shot here, like that's really cool, then you're more likely to be able to reach out and say, hey, I would love to do a collaboration with you on do a styled shoot, or I would love to be part of your next bridal event, or I would love to, work with you in some form or fashion. And so having that engagement to show that this is not a one-off, like I'm going to pop up and say, I love your place, it goes a long way. I'll give you a perfect example of this. I get emails on a regular basis from people trying to pitch people to be on my podcast. And I can always tell the people that have actually listened to my podcast versus the ones who are pretending to have listened to my podcast. Because what they typically will do is if they have actually listened to my podcast, they can bring in bits and pieces about things of who I am as a person, as a podcast host, as a photographer, a marketer, whatever. And they can bring that into the conversation in the email more naturally. So for example, I had one a couple weeks ago where they reached out and they were like, hey, I've been listening to your podcast for a while. I love that, you've talked about X, Y, or Z, which is common. But then they kind of went into a little bit more specifics of like my actual personality and the tone. They're like, I just love how like natural you are and conversational. Like it feels like every time I listen, I feel like I'm talking to just a friend. And it felt more genuine. Now, I don't know that they've actually listened. I can't see who is actually listening to my podcast. Like I don't have like on Instagram where you can see who has commented or liked. I don't have that. But I could tell by just the conversation they were having that it was more genuine. Whereas when people message me to try to pitch me to be on the show and they're like, I loved your latest episode about X, Y, Z. It was super helpful. It's great information for anyone in business. Like that's very generic. The same thing goes here. If you're engaging online and you're doing it authentically, which I know is an overused term, but bear with me. But if you're doing it authentically and you are actually trying to build a relationship with someone, an account, a business, a person, whoever, that's going to go a long way when you actually try to then go and either pitch them the idea of working together or try to work on something else with them. So just try to be, as authentic as you can, as often as you can. Okay, so moving away from the idea of engagement in that sense on social media, what are some things you can do in 10 minutes a day to help grow your marketing? The first thing I'm going to mention outside of social media that is literally a game changer for my business, and I've talked to this ad nauseum, but it's email marketing. And guys, email marketing does not require more than 10 minutes a week. I promise you, once it is set up and it is running, once you have your account set up, 10 minutes a week is all you really need to send out an email to your list. And so this can have a huge impact because not only are you going to be sending out one email a week that takes 10 minutes, 15 at most, but you are now staying top of mind, you're sharing value, you're being relevant, all the things. So you can create an email every single week that is, here's what's coming up in my business. Here's a fun fact. Like have kind of what I do is I have like my weekly themes with my photography clients. If you've got an email for this or you're on my email list for the podcast, it's a little different. But when I do emails for my photography clients, I kind of have weekly themes. So like the first week of the month, I typically share like what I have coming up. Like here's what I'm booking right now. Here's some links to some blog posts about different sessions or whatever. The second week of the month, I typically share like a tip of some kind. So a resource, something that's more educational, a frequently asked question or something along those lines. The third week, I typically share something fun, whether it's a funny behind the scenes moment, something cool going on in our community. And then the last week, I again will kind of share like a more direct, let's book a session kind of thing. But having that sort of set up, then every single week, you're not sitting down going, what am I going to post? What am I going to send an email about this week? You already know, okay, this week is share something cool going on in my community. You can create a quick 10-minute email that you throw together that is going to sound really fun and entertaining and give someone something of value. And the thing here, guys, is with email marketing, you don't need a huge, fancy, all done up email template. Most of my emails are just plain text with maybe a few graphics, like features to it. There's a header with my logo. I have a graphic box. So for example, with my podcast emails, if you're on my email list, you've seen this. At the very bottom, I have like 4 little blocks where I share like things going on behind the scenes or something I'm obsessed with or a marketing tip or what's on the podcast. And those are all graphic blocks. But for the most part, the bulk of my email is just plain text. And I have found that those work really well. They are less salesy looking. They're less likely to end up in spam because there's not as much coding going on behind the scenes that can get you flagged as like a sales or a business email. So you don't need a big fancy template to send an email. It's super, super quick and easy. And again, can only take 10 to 15 minutes of your week. Beyond that, you could also spend 10 minutes a week updating the SEO on your website. This could look like going in and making sure all the images on your website are tagged with SEO keywords and alt text. That can take some time if you've never done it. So sitting down and taking it all in one sitting is going to be a lot. But if you go in once a week for 5 or 10 minutes and you update a few things, it can have a big impact. It could be writing a blog post, 1 blog post per week, and putting it on your website. 10 to 15 minutes, add some images, give them some alt text and keywords, and it keeps your SEO rolling. It could be going in and adding a new frequently asked question. Anything that's going to keep your website up to date and keep it relevant and active is going to be great for SEO because Google wants to know your website is not just this like stationary thing that lives there without any updates. And so spending 10 minutes a week adding some form of update to your website will let Google know that you are still active and relevant in that space. So there's things you can do there. Another thing you can do if you have 10 minutes a day or a week is to update your Google business profile. This could mean making sure that you have all your information is correct and up to date, responding to any reviews that have come through on your Google. If you're asking past clients to leave you reviews, going and responding to those reviews is always super helpful. Adding any new photos or any new content to your Google profile review is always helpful as well. Again, same thing if it just keeps it relevant, it keeps it active. Going in and sending a personal message to a past client, 1 per week. Saying something as simple as, I really loved working with your family. You've been on my mind lately. I hope y'all are doing really well. Maybe you are a newborn photographer and it's 6 months past their session date and you're like, hey, I just wanted to check in. You've been on my mind lately. I hope that your family's doing really well. I hope your little one is just growing and you're loving all these milestones that you're seeing. If you ever need anything, just know that I'm here for you. You're not asking them to book a session. You're not pressuring them to book a session. You're just touching base. And it's that simple. And if you did that with 1 client per week for 10 minutes a week, you're going to see a huge return on that because they're either going to be like, yes, oh my gosh, it's been on my to-do list to reach out to you to book a session. I just kept forgetting because, life gets crazy with the baby. But we would love to book his first birthday session with you. Or we want to get updated family photos now that he's sitting up or whatever. So little moments like that, like little reach outs, little touch points can have a big impact, but they only take 10 minutes a week and you have a lot of marketing power behind that. The last thing I'll suggest is you could pitch a collaboration. So we mentioned like the engagement part of this earlier, but if you're really wanting to build like collaborations and partnerships, then taking 10 minutes a week to actually reach out to a company or a business and pitch a collaboration with them. You could do 1 a week. Again, this is not something you have to sit down and do 50 or 20 in one sitting. Do one a week and then see if you get a response. And then the next week, do another one and see if you get a response. And then next week, do another one. And then eventually you're going to have built up all this momentum behind it. You're going to feel way more confident doing it. It's not going to feel overwhelming because you've done it in small little chunks of time. But over time, you're going to build up this marketing, toolbox that you've been using with all of these things that only took the small little bit of time every single day. So between all of that, it's less about I'm going to tackle this big project at one time. It's just taking it into small little pieces. It makes it more sustainable. You're able to be more consistent with these things. And it allows you to feel like you're actually not only checking things off your list, but you're making progress. And you're going to start to see that progress coming full circle in the long run. So hopefully this gives you some ideas of things that you can be working on and doing within your business with just those little windows of time. If you have questions, thoughts, ideas, please feel free to reach out to me over on Instagram at Girl Means Business. If you want to follow along with my fun upcoming remodels here at the house, I'll post those over on Girl Means Business. So make sure you give me a follow over there. I hope this has been helpful. If you are starting to implement these 10-minute activities, I would love for you to let me know how they're going. So again, just send me a DM over on Instagram and let me know how it's working for you. And I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I will see you back here next week, same time, same place.